joined by Martin Holmes, Dunbeth Club Secretary. And today we're going to be talking about the proposal of possibly switching to summer football in Scotland and what effects that could have. So first of all, Martin, thank you very much for coming on to speak to us. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Looking forward to it.
Excellent, no problem at all. And can you first of all start off with just giving us a little bit about your background in football?
Yeah, so I started with Dunbeth just over 20 years ago. It was just basically my son that got involved in the football, and therefore then I get involved, and it's kind of grown from there. My son Craig, he kind of went through the ranks at Dunbeth, and now he actually plays with Clydebank, at the junior level. So there's a good platform from our club, to go on to bigger and better things. We're a well-established club, within the local area, and a highly regarded club as well, I would say. And just my experience within Dunbeth has been nothing short of fantastic. We've came a long way in a short space of time. To get where we are. Because when I took over the club, it probably wasn't in the best position, at all. But with a lot of hard work with myself and others included, that we've got it to where it is just now.
Absolutely fantastic, yes. And of course, today we're going to be talking about the proposal of summer football and what that could actually mean in Scotland. And you've been an advocate of this change, I guess, to something a wee bit different, something we haven't really seen before. So if we could start off just kind of picking up the debate on that, what would you say, or if you could point out the main reasons or the main advantages to this potential proposal, what would you say those are?
So I think there's lots of advantages. I think to start off with, we live in a climate where it's very wet, cold, most of the year round, and we seem to play football, in the worst of the weathers. And realistically, there's no real need to do that. It can be changed quite easily. But also the advantages is not just for the players, but for supporters as well. Going to these games, you see it year in, year out, standing at the side of the park, December, January, and it gets monotonous when you see that driving rain, the snow, and you're playing in pitches that are really, really heavy. And then again, more often than not, sometimes these pitches are called off. So we can go through long spells, when we don't get games of football. And that can be so disheartening for all the kids as well.
Yeah, and that's actually happened at senior level a lot this season as well. We've had cancellations because of COVID, but also cancellations because of bad weather conditions. And of course, the disruption with the lower leagues this season has been a real headache for everybody, I would say.
Matthew, I think what we've actually had this year with the pandemic has gave us the opportunity, to relook at this, and we still have that same opportunity to implement it this year. We have time. We don't have a lot of time, but we do have time, to make those changes. In a world where everything's upside down just now, I think, the leaders and followers, I think in Scottish football, we've followed a lot of methods in the past, but I think it's now time to step forward and be that leader and be that one person that makes that change for the better.
Absolutely. And in terms of your statement and what you've said about the proposal, do you think that this would be something that would need to happen at both youth and senior level, or could it, for example, be trialled at youth level first?
No, I think you've got to trial something first. I think to implement it right across all spheres of football, I don't think that would work quite well. But I think we have the opportunity at youth football, to make that change happen. And the benefit that will make, towards the senior teams and our own Scottish team. I know we've qualified, for the Euros this year, which is absolutely fantastic. It's been a long time coming and something for us all to look forward to. But I just think, that we should be able to do that trial quite easily. As I say, we've got that opportunity just now because of the situation that we find ourselves in, and we should grasp that and be that leader and take it forward.
Absolutely. So, of course, you're a coach yourself, as you've mentioned already. What would you imagine would need to be done at a grassroots level to have that change implemented? Because, of course, at senior level, there would have to be votes and various other agendas, as you've mentioned in your statement. What would you say at youth level would need to be done for that to actually physically be in place?
this is where I think the problem lies, right? I think, the bureaucracy that you've got to go through to make changes happen. We've put things to the SYFA, and the SYFA do a great job. There's no doubt about it, right? And I would never ridicule them, because it's a hard job to do. However, I just feel that this is the time to move forward. They've got to come and say, right, okay, this is our chance. Let's grasp it and let's take it. I think the leagues would benefit from it. I think it would be quite an easy transition to make. I think the leagues would benefit in the terms of organisation. I think organisation would be a hell of a lot better if we went through summer football, and that's basically down to the games not being postponed, so they would flow much better through the weekends. We wouldn't have many games, midweek games, but that would give us as the coaches a better opportunity to take the kids to the side and teach them in a better environment. There's nothing worse than sitting in November, doing your training session when you've got to keep the boys and girls moving, and where you come into the summertime, you get that lovely weather, or whatever lovely weather we get, that it does give us that opportunity to take time away, from the past and moving and explain things better to the kids. But I definitely think it would be an easy transition to make.
And would you say in your time that the kids that you've worked with, and subsequently possibly their parents as well, because we know that normally without restrictions, parents love to come and watch the games as well. Would you say they've come to you with that proposal before?
Well, no, I put the proposal online, and it kind of a little bit of a tester. Just to see what other people's feelings were, and I think that there was no negative views on it. I think that the one kind of niggle was that when we come into the kind of height of the summertime where people go on holiday, that may well cause a problem with squad sizes, right? But we go on holiday throughout the year now. As I say, we've moved on in life, from where we used to take holidays in the fair fortnight in Glasgow, and it would be the same for Edinburgh and Fife and so on and so on. I think we've moved on to that, so we're kind of more sporadic. Where holidays, some take them in September. So I think we would always face that problem, whether it be summer football or football all year round.
Yeah, absolutely. And as well, just to move on to what we were talking initially about in terms of senior level. So we've explained how it could possibly work at youth level. At senior level, obviously there's a bit more, that comes into play here. I was reading a report from 2015, which of course was quite some time ago, and most top flight clubs did back the idea of a trial or looking into it, certainly, but
I think I've lost you there a wee bit, Matthew. Are you back, Matthew?
Still hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Hi, sorry about that.
It's fine.
No problem at all. Second.
Cool.
Hi, you still there?
Still here, aye.
Sorry about that. This is obviously the perils of our meetings. Just give me a wee second. This is the perils of online, of course. Appears that I've been lost off the screen now, which is not what we're after.
Yeah, see you back.
Yeah, I don't see myself on the screen at the moment, so just give me a wee second. I don't know if it's now made you the host or something like that. And perhaps I'm not on the screen. Do you happen to see next to my screen a wee toggle on the top right-hand side at all?
No.
Not at all. At the side of it, right? Okay. Not a problem. We'll work it out in a minute. Yeah, I think I can see the issue that I'm having. Yes, like I said, this is a relatively new system for us. So I think I've lost myself off the screen. Well, not to worry, Martin. We'll just continue on. I'm sure we can sort the technical issue out later on in the edit. No problem at all. If you can see me, then that's all good.
I think you're talking about the senior level there. I think senior level is slightly different because these are businesses, and there's a lot more protocol to go through. With them, they've got to fall in line with like Champions League and World Cups, European Championships as well. So all that's got to be brought into to be configured to make that all work. So I think it's a lot harder, for professional footballers, or football leagues to bring that into line. But I don't see any reason or any negative benefit, from not bringing, into the grassroots level.
Absolutely, and yeah, I think that's a fair point to make. So, what would you say to those who perhaps don't appreciate this proposal and have objections to it? What would you say to those?
Well, I think everybody will have their own views on it. I think what they've got to look at is the bigger picture, and the bigger picture for me is the development of the kids. We want to see young footballers become great footballers, and given the opportunities that professional footballers can get, going forward. So I think you've got to look at what gives them the best opportunity. And I don't think at this moment in time, playing in soggy pitches, trying to get through, 2 or 3 inches of muck, it is conducive to great football. Whereas we look in the summertime, the pitches are a lot more firmer. The grass doesn't seem to get wasted if you're playing on grass. And it just seems to be an all-round better experience for everybody. And I think the feel-good factor as well, when you're out there playing in decent weathers, for the supporter, standing at the side of the park, just watching it. As I say, I said in my comments earlier on that I certainly don't want to be standing at the side of the park with a puffer jacket, the hat and the gloves on. I want to be standing there with a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, enjoying, watching the football. And I think the other benefit that it can give, and this was something that I thought about, was that when you've got that feel-good factor, there's a hell of a lot of bookings and sending offs, and people get upset, and that's all down to how you feel as an individual. And if you're feeling a little bit better about yourself, and the weather can bring that out in you, then certainly referees are going to feel the benefit of that as well. So summer football, or playing football in a bit better weather, can certainly have an impact right across the board.
Yeah, of course. And just to move on to one of my kind of subsequent questions on that, of course, this season we've seen a lot of disruption. We had the Scottish Cup final in December. That's not happened, I don't believe, in history. So do you think that in terms of governing bodies, the argument of, oh, well, we can't chop and change an age-old system, do you think that's kind of gone now, given that the pandemic has forced changes in schedules?
Absolutely. I think, as I said, you're right at the start. This has given them that opportunity to cast that aside now and work on a blank page. And you don't get many opportunities. And this is not a great thing, that we've had over the last kind of year. And everybody's suffered. And we all want to, sing off the same hymn sheet and try and make sure, that we get the right results for young kids. And as I say, there's a blank bit of paper there now, and it's how we now go forward with it. If we want to be left in the kind of darker ages and stay in the past, then we'll continue to go on and we'll play in winter football. We'll play through December and January, where the wind and the rain is howling through, and you'll go home at the end of the day and try and dry yourself off, and you'll still be trying to feel your fingers 3 hours later. So this is an opportunity, and as I said again at the start, that there's followers and there's leaders, right? We've followed, all these methods, the Dutch method, the Scandinavian method, German method. It's time to follow our own methods now, and be that leader. And the SYFA and the SFA can do that, but it's up to them.
Absolutely. I think you make a very, very valid point there. So the final question, if it's okay, just to wrap up on the topic, is just to say, what would you say to others to urge them to essentially join your message here? What would you say to other coaches mainly to join your message?
So for me, I think it's got to be get the message through to the SYFA, en masse. It can't be just individual clubs, to do it. It needs to be done en masse. So what I'm saying is write those emails, directly into the SYFA, and don't make demands. Bring them to the table. We want to be around that table to make change for the better. And as I said, I think we've got that opportunity to do so, but we've all got to meet at the same point, to go forward.
Absolutely. Well, again, Martin, thanks very much for coming on and speaking to us today. I know we had some connectivity issues, but it has been a pleasure speaking to you. I'm just going to end the recording just now. Okay.
Thanks very much.